What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of Two Sweet Converse. We are on episode 24, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Wildcard, and I'm here with the rest of the crew and a very special guest, but I figured we'd let everybody introduce themselves here first.
What's up, everybody? It's CJV here.
Hey, everyone. Steve-O here.
Nico, what's up, guys?
Yeah, and we got a very special guest here. We got a new face joining the podcast here. Our buddy Dennis Day here. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Why don't you tell the viewers about yourself and who you are, man?
All right. Well, obviously, you guys know, but those of you listening, my name's Dennis Day Jr., otherwise known as DDJ. I actually been a wrestling fan for about 30 years and stuff. And I actually have my own podcast called Whaddya Say with DDJ, and it's WHADDYA, the little non-traditional spelling. It is available on all major podcast outlets, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, Anchor, and also my shows actually are on YouTube as well as under the on the Pro Wrestling Junkies YouTube page, which I'm sure some of you guys are part of the Pro Wrestling Junkies group on Facebook. If not, join them.
Yes. Shout out to Pro Wrestling Junkies. They are a great Facebook group, without a doubt, for sure.
All right, so we're going to get into this week's main topic. We have the five of us here to discuss it, so who knows how long this will go. We probably have quite a bit to say of each of these matches, but we're going to be talking about this weekend's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, which has only a total of 4 matches. So probably by the time we're done recording, they're going to probably announce 4 more matches for all we know. So, but we got to make do with what we got. So we're going to go over the matches, give our thoughts on excitement level for this pay-per-view. Maybe we'll each take a guess on a random match. They'll maybe pick one match like that they haven't announced that we could foresee them announcing. So let's just get straight into it. Hell in a Cell this Sunday on October 20th. The first match up is a match that's kind of been stemming for a while. It kind of started over the summer. Elias is going to be taking on Jeff Hardy. Dennis, you're the guest, so we're going to let you start this one off. Well, what is your take on this match, and who do you predict to win this pay-per-view bout?
Well, kind of what my take on it is I think it's going to be a good match and stuff, but I like the fact that they're actually bringing up past history, and we're going back to when everybody, I believe, was on, well, the participants were both on Smackdown, and they had the whole angle where Sheamus tried to frame Jeff Hardy for, bringing up his alcohol and stuff, and, he rammed Elias's car, wound up putting him in the hospital and stuff, and I like how they're bringing that up rather than just be like, oh, yeah, you're a singer or something, and that kind of stuff. So I love the fact that they're bringing up the past history between these two, even though Jeff Hardy's saying it wasn't him. So maybe that's going to factor another wrinkle into this whole story about who really did it. As for who I think is going to win, I think Jeff Hardy's going to get the win, but I don't think it's going to be in the end of this story.
Very nice take there, Dennis. Nico, how about you? Who's your pick, and what's your take on this match overall?
Okay, yeah. Real quick, a correction. The pay-per-view is this Sunday, the 25th. You said the 20th, Steve-O. But yeah,
it was in the script as that. Whoops, my bad.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, to kind of echo what Dennis said, yeah, I think I love the fact that WWE is going back, because once again, it's one thing that we've all been asking, not only for WWE to do, but for professional wrestling companies to do in general, and that's long-term storytelling and long-term booking. I know it was only a couple months, but at least they're going back to something that happened over the summer months with the reason this match is happening. However, I just don't like how it was executed because it was determined that maybe it was Sheamus who ran down Elias and not Jeff Hardy because they said they saw somebody with a red, beard a la Sheamus, but now, Elias is back on Raw, back in the WWE, and he's immediately blaming Jeff, even though they've told the casual viewer, so whoever paid attention to the story, that it was Sheamus who actually ran down Elias and not Jeff. So then why is Elias still attacking and still blaming Jeff for it? But I digress. I think the match is going to be fine. It'll be solid. I don't know who's going to win. I actually love the idea that Elias is on Raw because Raw is a 3-hour show. They can use him and his, singing act that they normally use for comedy to kind of fill time during a 3-hour broadcast, which I'm totally good with. I actually loved his little performance that he gave. It felt like a real rock concert. I know it's cheesy, and I know it's something people really don't pay attention to usually, but I actually thought it was pretty good and entertaining. But again, in regards to this match, I don't know. I would give it to Elias based on the fact that, okay, if we're really going to get behind this guy, he kind of needs it more. Maybe Elias cheats to win so they can further the story between the two. I don't know. But for right now, I'm going to go with Elias getting the win.
EJV, who's your pick for this match?
This one is pretty tough to say. I mean, because both competitors, I would say, this match overall, I think is going to be really good. Both competitors are great. We know that already. Elias is entertaining as all hell. He can sit there and play nothing and not even speak, and I'd be entertained because I'm such a mark for the guy, to be honest. But this is like Nico said, it does have a little bit of an issue with continuity in the storyline itself, but that's a whole different conversation. This match is going to be a good one just because the story behind it with Elias coming back. And to me, I think Elias needs to win this match in order to build himself. I know his push had been derailed because of injuries and inconsistent booking and different things of that sort. So it's I think this would be the perfect bounce back match for Elias. With that being said, Jeff Hardy also needs this win because of the fact he just lost recently the Intercontinental title to Sami Zayn in that ladder match. So, but I think Elias needs to win more because of the fact his push got derailed because of the injuries, and I think if they're really going to get behind him, as Nico says, he needs that big victory over a former world champion like that. So, my pick is easily going to be Elias.
Wild card. What's your take?
This is almost a toss-up for me because, each of my colleagues have made some good points about who may actually could win this match here. Jeff really could use the victory because of the momentum that he lost, essentially, after losing the IC title. But, Elias seems like, ever since he kind of came back, he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I just kind of feel like that, after that kick-ass performance that he had there, too, seems like momentum is on his side. You can make an argument for both. But for me personally, I'm going to have to go with Elias on this just because, he just came back and they really could use that push. I can see him getting pushed back to the top because, he definitely has the potential to be a top-level superstar. But unfortunately, injuries did kind of derail that for a little while. However, it wouldn't surprise me if Hardy ended up coming out the victor out of this there, too. Either way, I can see this being a good match overall. So, it's going to be a nice match I can even see even starting the pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's kind of my take before we get into the next match. I'm actually enjoying the start of this feud, and I'm glad Elias is back on TV. I was kind of questioning where he was, but then the draft happened, and lo and behold, Elias came back, and now he's a heel again. But he's like accusing Jeff. I thought we all thought that Sheamus was revealed to be the one behind this incident, but it is what it is, like Nico mentioned earlier. And then we're hearing that now the dirt sheets are reporting that Elias is in the midst of a big push coming up, so that'll be interesting to see where that goes. I think for that reason, I think Elias is going to get the first win. I think this feud will continue, maybe for at least a few episodes of Raw. Maybe they'll have a match in the Survivor Series, but probably not. But for now, I think that Elias will get the victory, but the feud will continue on for the foreseeable future. So that's pretty much my take with that. Something to say, Nico, or?
Yeah, I believe this match between Elias and Jeff Hardy was officially added and announced as it's going to be on the kickoff show. So it technically won't be on the actual pay-per-view itself, but I believe it was announced to be on the kickoff show. Just wanted to mention that.
Oh yes, of course. Thank you for the call out.
If that's the case, that's kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
Well,
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, this actually, even though it was short, a short build-up, it was a pretty solid build-up for what it was. But I digress. Next matchup, we have 3 Hell in a Cell matches here. Which one's going to be the main event? That's a mystery, but I'm just going to go with the order that it has been written in. We're going to go with the SmackDown Women's Championship Hell in a Cell match. The first time the SmackDown Women's Championship's ever been defended in the Hell in a Cell structure. We know the Raw Women's title has been, but now the Blue Brand gets to have a title match in this structure. So that being said, Bayley, the longtime champion, will be defending against former bestie Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's Championship. So, wild card, let's pass it to you to start it off. Who is your take to win, and how do you think this match will go?
Yeah, I figured you guys would.
No, because I know exactly what he's gonna say right now.
I see E in the corner there, just grinning right there.
Hey, real quick.
Look on his face.
Hey, if you can't see the shirt I'm wearing,
I see that. And I'm just like, I'm giving you one of these here for that.
I wore it especially.
Wow.
I wore it especially for you because I knew what we were going to talk about tonight. So I wore it especially for you, Andy.
Yeah. Dennis, this is the shit that we deal with on a regular basis, by the way. So
I can see that.
Anyway, all right. Well, I don't know. Do you guys want my biased answer or do you want my honest answer on this one here?
Give us both, and then pass it to me so I can easily shut you down.
Yeah.
Wow.
Of course you would. Well, guess what? Because I'm not going to pass it to you, buddy. I'm going to pass it to somebody else here. Anyway. All right. So let me say my spiel here. This has been a pretty kick-ass feud, though, for the most part. It's no secret because of the chemistry that both Sasha and Bayley have with each other there, too. The thing that really does bother me a little bit, and this is something that we talked about in the previous podcast, was the fact that Sasha came back a little bit too soon. And I think that for the most part that, after that ass-kicking that she received, by the hands of Bayley, you think that, she may be gone for 2-3 months or something like that. But, that I think that we all kind of agreed that it would have made the storyline much sweeter if she were to take some kind of hiatus because of that, just to sell those injuries. But alas, WWE with their booking decides to go about their business and bring Sasha Banks back. I don't know, what was this, like a week or 2 later? I don't even remember anymore. Yeah. So anyway, it kind of killed off any kind of potential story buildup that they could have had with this feud. But then again, I think the chemistry that these two have with each other really makes up for it. So, I'm liking what I'm seeing right now. Can't wait for this match itself. And yes, both my biased and honest answers, I am going to say the boss is going to take the title from Bayley there too. So anyway, passing it on to Dennis. Actually, Dennis, what are your thoughts on this, man?
So I'm gonna take what you said about Sasha coming back a little too soon, which I'm in total agreement with, and take it a step further.
Mm-hmm.
They should have held her out until the Royal Rumble. They should have brought her back at the Royal Rumble, either if Bayley was in the Rumble match or Bayley was in a title defense. She successfully defends her title, just say against, Nikki Cross, just the first name to come to head. She wins the match, then Sasha comes out and destroys her. Because in my opinion, this match should have been saved for WrestleMania. This is a WrestleMania worthy match and stuff. So that's why I'm a little disappointed they're going to this soon. But in my opinion, the last couple months, Bayley has been on fire. I think she's finally found her niche as a heel and stuff. And I think she's been great since she's found that niche. But I'm going to say, because they usually like to end their title reigns, around this 1 year mark. You don't really see many going past that. So for that reason, I'm going to say Sasha comes out on top. So I'll throw it to Steve-O.
Oh, okay, nice. So yeah, I'm gonna concur with you, gentlemen. I think that Sasha Banks is gonna win it. Simply put, I can just repeat what everyone said. I think this match could have at least been billed to their first outing at either. I would say Survivor Series. I'd be okay with it. They would have at least have Sasha return at Hell in a Cell, and then they do their big match at Survivor Series. But I think maybe they could have waited till the Royal Rumble. But it is what it is. Going with the next thing. I think that it's okay that they're actually having this match in the Hell in a Cell, because they've had years of feuds, and that's just not even counting their NXT bouts. But, they started off in 2018 having matches back and forth. And then, in 2018, they had that little rivalry. Then Dr. Shelby got involved, and then eventually they went for the women's tag team championship. So it's been a long time building in the making. So I do appreciate that. I really do think that's awesome. They have had a long-term feud. So this will be a great match. I'm excited to see where it goes. But yeah, I foresee the Boss winning the championship, and then they may go one or two more pay-per-views after. Bayley might win it back. We'll see. It would be nice to see Sasha actually retain at a pay-per-view, but time will tell about that. And it seems like our buddy, the Hugger, would like to get his 2 cents, and he's been waiting, 2 people in. So I'm going to pass it over to Nico, and then we'll let EJV finish it off.
I actually wanted E to go next, but it's okay. You guys know how I feel about this. About a year ago, when Bayley turned heel, and I've told this story before, about a year ago when Bayley turned heel, I was in the hospital recovering from a second surgery the night that she actually turned, and she came out and she destroyed the whackable inflatable Bayley buddies. And I remember screaming at my TV. I actually threw my bedpan at my TV. The nurse came running in like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "They turned Bayley heel." The nurse is looking at me like, "What the hell is this guy talking? Is he medicated right now?" I remember seething over the fact that I could not believe WWE actually decided to turn Bayley heel. I thought, oh my God, she's the ultimate babyface. She is the ultimate, the most relatable character that any wrestling fan can relate to, man or woman. However, once WrestleMania hit this year, when she started the whole role model gimmick, I actually got converted, because I thought there's no way Bayley as a heel will ever work. They're going to turn her babyface back again in a few months. I actually got converted, and I'm like, okay, I actually buy into Bayley being the role model and her being a heel. Now, fast forward, we've all talked about how WWE rushed bringing Sasha back to do this match for Hell in a Cell. I fully expect this match to be the last match of the night main event because they are on the poster for this pay-per-view. However, as much as I would love Bayley to win, I can definitely see Sasha winning. But, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here, if you really think about it, with how the SmackDown's women's division is right now, with how Bayley is right now, she is the hottest thing out of the past year in WWE. I say it's her and whatever the hell Bray Wyatt is doing. We can talk about Bray at another time. They added Alexa with him, but we can go into that on a later episode. But Bayley's been the hottest thing in WWE right now. I think her dropping the belt now, even though it's been a year as champion, would kind of suck over the fact of, oh, they're just doing it to give Sasha the belt. And then we're immediately like, okay, Sasha's now champion. Now what do we do? Do we do Bayley versus Sasha again in a couple months? Because it's not going to happen at Survivor Series because they're going to do the whole Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT thing again, which is fine. But my thing is this. If you take the title off of Bayley, she's been the hottest thing in your company for the past year. What do you do with her then? I think her being a heel would just be is just great right now, and I think just taking the title off her, it hurts her more than putting the title on Sasha. And it's not because I'm a Bayley fan, but I just think feeling this reign of like, oh, they just waited for Sasha to be the one, even though a few weeks ago Bayley just beat the living crap out of her with a chair and, injured her neck and all that, which of course they've already ruined. I don't know. I feel like WWE's backing themselves into a corner. I'm hoping the match is good. It'll be fine because they got good chemistry together, but nothing is ever going to top what they did with NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. I mean, they tried to top it with their Iron Woman match, and they didn't in NXT. So I'm just a little concerned with how they're going to do this. I fully would prefer Sasha has Bayley beat, and then somebody costed Sasha the match. I don't know who. Maybe they could do somebody like Mickie James. I know that's out there, but if you think about it, Mickie hasn't been drafted on Raw or SmackDown. Nobody knows what Mickey's doing right now. Maybe they can just go there just to piss the people off. I don't know. But yeah, I fully expect Sasha to win. But again, I think her winning this match would be a mistake. I love the fact that Sasha has wrestled all three of the WWE 4 Horsewomen inside Hell in a Cell. I think it'd be hilarious if she lost to all three, mainly for the fact that I know how Sasha can be towards certain wrestling fans. Let's go Team Bayley. Let's go Team Bayley.
Passing it to EJB. Go ahead, buddy.
Well, let me just say this to start off with. Watching Nico seethe there during Andy's whole diatribe and the two people after him was more entertaining than 3 hours of Monday Night Raw, but I digress. Yes, I got jokes for days. I'll be here all week. But seriously, this is one of the matches out of the 4 that have been announced, as they're too lazy to announce the others over the week, is that I thought this match I'm actually really excited for. This is a feud that's been built up nicely. Of course, like our contrarians on here said, it could have been built better if they would have just held Sasha off TV a little bit longer. Because you could have built... I understand they're building this into a blood feud right now with the whole the neck injury and the attack. But to me, and the breaking of the friendship, but to me, you could have built this story so much better. You could have built it up further. You could have added even more. You could have had more violence to this if you needed. But to me, I feel like that this has been built nicely, and this is going to be a good match. I mean, I understand Nico's concern with them trying to top what they did at TakeOver Brooklyn, and to me, that match, I agree, is untouchable between them two because it was just so epic and the atmosphere that night. That's the one thing we're missing in this pandemic is atmosphere. But to me, this is going to be a good match. It's going to be violent. I expected the plus of stops. And I expect it to be good because most of the Hell in a Cell matches that have been good over the past few years have been the women's Hell in a Cell matches. Not saying nothing about like the New Day versus the Usos a couple years ago and all that, but to me, I feel like some of the best Hell in a Cell matches are women's ones just because they pulled out all the stops and they really, really upped their stock over the years. But yeah, I agree. Taking the title off Bayley might hurt her more than it benefits Sasha. But I am going to go with Sasha to win just because I think that's what they're building to from what I've seen over the past month or so. But yeah, I'm going with the Boss to win the SmackDown Women's title inside Hell in a Cell.
Very nice take, everybody. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it goes from there. The next title bout we're going to get into is on the Raw side of things. It's going to be Drew McIntyre, longtime champion since WrestleMania 36, taking on Randy Orton in their third match. This time it's in Hell in a Cell. Will this be the final match among the two of them, or will it continue? It's going to be interesting to see if Randy Orton will get title number 14 or if Drew's title reign will continue. Let's start it off with you, EJB. What's your take on this match?
I'll tell you this much. At first I want, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton. I expected them to do good things, but this feud has been great. Randy Orton, of course, involving, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Christian, all these legends that Orton has taken out. And, sooner or later, Edge will be back, and it's going to involve either Edge will be back solely to go after Orton, or it's going to involve him and Drew too. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But this feud, I think, has been great. I think it's been built up well. Both competitors have had some great matches. That ambulance match they had was really good. I felt the involvement of the wrestlers at that time was a little bit, just a little bit strong on that. But that's a whole different conversation. This matchup is on the Cell. I expect Randy Orton to be as vicious, violent, and vindictive as he's always been. You know his history in Hell in a Cell matches. We all do. And Drew McIntyre, I believe this is his first step inside Hell in a Cell, and he doesn't. And this is a world that he has never been in. And to me, I feel like this is going to benefit Orton more than anything. But I think Drew, with a veteran like Randy Orton, who has been in Hell in a Cell so many times before, Drew and Randy can coach Drew on how to deal with this environment to prepare for this match, in a sense, for the storyline purposes. But as far as who will win, that's a tough one. I would go with Drew, but my heart is saying Randy Orton. The only reason is because Edge will be back sooner rather than later. I know he's healing a little bit slower than usual because of his age due to that torn muscle in his arm, but he'll be back soon, and I feel like Orton, as the champion, if they want to build some sort of match between them two at the Rumble or WrestleMania or whatever, unless they're going to extend this feud even further, I have a feeling that Orton's going to walk out as the new WWE champion.
All right, Nico, how about you? What's your take on this match?
This feud or program, whatever you want to call it, between Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre has definitely surprised me. I knew it would be good because Randy's a great worker. Drew has gotten better over the years, and he's gotten more comfortable ever since he stepped back into the WWE when he showed up on NXT. But this feud has definitely surpassed my expectations of what I was expecting. I wish they didn't involve all the legends during the Clash of Champions match. I kind of wish they would have waited until now. I think now, because this is going to be the climax and the end of it after this, at least that's what I'm assuming, and I'm also hoping to at the same time. I think it would be more fitting if you involve them now for them to cost Randy. However, to kind of echo what E said, Randy's been inside Hell in a Cell before. Drew hasn't. I know it sounds like a cartoony cliche, but once you're in that structure, that does physically change a performer, both physically and psychologically. It actually does. I have talked to some wrestlers that have had Hell in a Cell matches, and they are literally like, no, it's not a joke. It's not a storyline. Once you enter that place, you literally feel more different once you walk out of it. Um, so I think Drew is going to get the win because this would kind of cement him more of the fact that, oh, I am now the guy. Because I beat Brock, I now beat Randy. I am now the guy. And I think he needs that win more. Randy doesn't need the win. If he wins it, okay, cool. I don't see him and Edge happening for a title. They don't need to fight over a title. I don't want to see Edge fighting for a championship right now. I think that opportunity has passed. It would have been great if he didn't get hurt. But unfortunately, injuries do happen in wrestling. We all know that. So I think personally, the idea of Edge potentially coming back to get revenge on Randy and then taking the title from him, that idea in my little head has passed. He doesn't need it. It's not going to help Edge in any way. It's not going to hurt him in any way if he's never champion again. It's not going to help Randy or hurt him if he ever becomes champion again. However, there is a guy who likes to have a little bit of fun, and he's got a new sidekick in his little fun house that I think he is going to have a thing or two to say about this match when all is said and done. If you don't know who I'm talking about, figure it out.
Dennis, how about you? What's your take on this bout?
Okay, so my take is this. Drew's already beaten Randy Orton twice, so I think kind of to what Nico just said about, him being the guy, I think he's already basically proven, at least in my eyes, that he is already the guy. That being said, I'm going with Orton simply because, again, it is inside Hell in a Cell. Orton's a completely different beast inside the cell. I do think Orton versus Edge 3 is going to happen, and I think the title's going to be involved because really there isn't anything else you can do for an Edge versus Orton 3 that would sweeten the pot, other than having the WWE championship, being up for grabs. That being said, I think it's all this is going to eventually lead to if WrestleMania 37 happens in front of a crowd, which we obviously 1 minute it sounds like it's going to be, now with the sudden surge in the COVID, who knows and everything, and it sounds like WrestleMania is actually going to be in Tampa again because it should have been this year. I think this is all going to lead to, if WrestleMania is going to be held in front of fans, I think it's going to lead to Drew getting the WrestleMania moment that he should have had this year, and that's winning the title in front of the fans. So I'm saying Orton's going to take it, but it's only going to be set up so that Drew can have that true WrestleMania moment.
Hey, wild card. What's your take on this title bout?
It's no secret that I've said this before about Drew McIntyre because out of all the things that I dislike about Monday Night Raw at this point from a storyline perspective, there's only been one person that has really caught my interest in terms of what they're doing right, and that is having Drew McIntyre as the WWE champion. This guy has shown to the world why he is a top-level player right now. I mean, he's proven that. He's certainly earned it. And, this will be a true test for him, first time in a Hell in a Cell. And, Nico actually did, you made a really good point about the, Hell in a Cell. I mean, I think from an outside perspective, it's like, okay, it's just another gimmick match, but, it's a really intimidating structure if you really dive deep into it. And for those who have participated in a Hell in a Cell match, it really does amp up. It kind of amps up a little bit of how should I put this? Almost like a killer instinct in you, in a sense, because when you're locked into that cage, you become a wild animal, And when you do that, you're basically set up to do anything that's very unpredictable. We've all seen what Randy can do inside Hell in a Cell. Haven't seen that from Drew, but this would be interesting to see what kind of attitude he brings out, because he was already vicious enough without the Hell in a Cell. I'll be curious to see what he will be like when that cage lowers down and he faces the Viper. Who I think was going to win this? I think Drew's going to retain the title and continue his dominance.
All right, so pick Randy once, shame on you. Pick Randy twice, shame on me. I'm not going to do it a third time. I've already picked him 2 pay-per-views in a row to win. You'd think this would be the time he does it, but no, fuck that. I'm not going to do that again. Here's why. Because of the whole brand, the draft, the trade-off, I think there's a lot of people that Drew McIntyre can defend the title with. We have The Fiend now on Monday Night Raw. We even have Braun Strowman. I see a lot of potential opponents for Drew McIntyre just to feud with. I mean, yes, Randy Orton and Edge 3 is going to come in some way, some form. At some point, it could be for the championship. But just right now, I think that Drew McIntyre is going to hold on to the title for a little longer. I think it is time to move on into a new feud. The feud has been fun, but I'm ready for something new. I just think that just Randy losing 2 times in a row to Drew has just heavily disinterested me. However, Randy is the first person to pin Drew in over a year about. So that was an interesting dynamic. But I think because he got that whole, accolade to his career for this time being, like going into this Hell in a Cell feud, I just think that, I just foresee that Drew's just going to retain the title. The match will be a hell of a bout. I think it's going to be great. But for right now, I think Drew McIntyre will continue to be the face of the Raw brand, at least for the foreseeable future. So we're going to the final match, last but not least. It's going to be Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. This is their second match. This time it's an I Quit match for the Universal title in Hell in a Cell. So passing it over to Dennis, I'm going to let him give his thoughts on this match.
Okay, so I've said this to a lot of friends in the Pro Wrestling Junkies Facebook group and just some other my wrestling friends. Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso is the best thing going in WWE right now, at least in my opinion. Their match at Clash of Champions was probably the single best piece of storytelling I've seen in a WWE match in at least the last 10, 15, maybe even 20 years. And I expect nothing less from, these two coming up on Sunday. And in fact, we were talking about what we think is going to be the main event of Hell in a Cell. This is my pick to be the main event, the last match that closes the show out, because, again, I think this is the best story going. Now, I think realistically, we all don't think Jey Uso has a chance of winning the Universal title. I'm going to, obviously, if anybody thinks differently, I'm interested to hear their opinion why. That being said, I think Jey Uso has done an amazing job of, running with the ball when given this opportunity. Again, I think the storytelling is great. I just can't say, I can't say anything bad about this. Obviously, who I think is going to win, it's going to be Roman. But basically what I see coming as a result of this is I think something's going to happen to where we eventually see, Jay and then Jimmy when he comes back from his injury. I could definitely see something going down where, they eventually side with Roman and we get that Samoan dynasty faction that's long been rumored. And with Paul Heyman, involved, that's going to do nothing but just add so much more to the story. So officially, Roman wins, and in my opinion, this match closes out the show.
EJB, your picks for this match.
Let me tell you, Dennis hit the nail right on the motherfucking head. This is the best program WWE's got going right now. The reason why is because it's real.
Mm-hmm.
It's real. It's all about the bloodline, the Samoan family bloodline. This is something that I've heard on every podcast, every radio show, is that this feud, because it's so real, is what makes this so great. Because, with all these legends, Hall of Famers in that Samoan dynasty retired or unfortunately gone from this world, who's next to be at the head of the family table? And a lot of people believe it is Roman Reigns because of the fact he has been so successful. He has done all these great things. And, there is that inner family jealousy when somebody, the older brother, decides, hey, I'm going to be the one who does this, does that, and then there's that jealousy. But to me, this Roman Jey Uso match, I think at Hell in a Cell definitely deserves to be the main event because of the story they're telling, because of the physicality I know between them two that's going to take place inside that cell, especially with it being under I Quit rules, which is something that I don't remember we've ever seen in a Hell in a Cell match in I Quit. This will be really, really, really interesting to watch. To me, Jey Uso's going to put up one hell of a fight. We know he's going to come close, but it's the writing's on the wall. Roman Reigns will retain the title, but Jey Uso is going to probably put on his best performance to date as a singles competitor.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Wildcard, you're up, buddy.
I gotta be honest. When this feud first came about, I was just thinking that it was just another filler. That I didn't really take it too seriously at first. But I gotta be honest. Once I saw the storyline play out, I was very, very impressed. I never would have thought that it actually would interest me because the thing is that everything in that storyline is absolutely real, and just like the rest of my colleagues had said there, and that's how you tell a good story, especially in professional wrestling, is through actual true storylines, real life situations, and just real blood work right there. That's what Roman Reigns and Jey Uso kind of bring to the table there too. I mean, they're family. Who better to bring out the best out of each other than family? And I also have to give props to Roman too for stepping his game up. I mean, I'm really digging this whole Tribal King gimmick that he's doing right now. I mean, it's just it almost breaks away from what we knew of Roman Reigns previously, in his Shield days. It's something new, just kind of like how Rollins reinvented himself too. I mean, the way Roman's been going about his business, it's been pretty badass. And I got to give props also to Jey Uso for stepping his game up too. I mean, I knew he had all the charisma in the world. I just never knew that he would actually bring it out in a singles competitor too. Now, it's no secret that we all know that where this outcome is going to go, because there's just no possible way that Jey Uso, out of all people, is going to win the Universal title. There's just no way. I mean, and anybody who says that is just out of their damn mind. But I digress. But I think for the most part that this storyline itself has just been so entertaining that it's almost too good to be true, because we all know how much WWE seems to mess up a lot of the storylines for the most part.
Retribution.
Yep. Yeah. That's another topic for another day there too. I feel like that could be another too sweet and short there, right there. But anyway, in terms of who I think is going to win, I mean, it's pretty obvious to me. It's Roman. But again, I do hope they do continue this feud, because I really think that they could really do a lot more. I never would have thought that I would ever say that about this feud, but I think they can actually do a lot more with this feud and be very creative with it. But I think Roman's going to walk out Universal Champion, but I think Jay's gonna show the world that he's got some pretty good skills as a singles wrestler.
Nico, your pick for this match, and what's your take on this feud overall?
Um, my take on this feud is I love it. And not just because of the whole Samoan dynasty or the bloodline or the family. I think anyone who comes from a close, tight knit family can relate. It's very relatable because it's real and it's very relatable. You know how I am with my cousin Carlos. He is like my older brother. He is clearly better than me, not because of my physical limitations, but it's just a simple fact. The guy is. I'm not hating on my, cousin at all. I love him to death. I want him to succeed in life. But if you got that older brother in your life that you know is the oldest, and how is it supposed to be? You respect the oldest. You respect the oldest at the head of the table. But when you're the younger brother, when you're the baby of the family, you're just like, whoa, where's my shot? Can't I lead? When am I gonna get my shot? So I can fully feel what Jay Uso is going through right now. It immediately sold me when he did that promo um, right before Clash of Champions at the end of Smackdown. Um, when he said, "What about me? What about my family? What about my kids? Your nephews?" So right then and there, I knew Jay Uso could ball out on the promos. The story they told at Clash of Champions was a great story. Jay didn't quit. What they told on SmackDown last week when Jay was like, "You love me, bro. You love me. I love you too," and started mollywhopping his ass with the chair, but yet still got his ass kicked because if you're that little brother, yeah, you get to jump on the big brother every now and then, but if the big brother gets back up, you're getting your ass kicked.
Mm-hmm.
It's very relatable. It's very real. Um, I fully expect Roman to win this match like we all do, but, and hear me out, I'm calling the finish right now. Roman's got this new submission finish, basically a guillotine choke where he kind of stands up, a la John Jones did to Lyoto Machida in the UFC a few years ago. They made a point and emphasis on that move for a reason last week on SmackDown when he put out Braun, which, by the way, I thought was it literally killed Braun Strowman in my eyes as the main event top guy. There's nothing Braun can do. I'm not hating on Braun Strowman. He's a company guy. Do what you got to do to make your bosses happy and get paid, bro. But I will never see you as a main event level championship type talent. Um, but back to my original point, Roman and Jay are gonna beat the living crap out of each other. Roman's gonna get the upper hand because he's the bigger brother of the two. Yeah, I know they're cousins, but when you're around somebody so much like those guys were growing up, that guy's not your cousin. That guy's your other brother.
Mm-hmm.
So Roman's gonna beat the shit out of Jay. Jay's gonna respond back, but Jay's gonna get his ass whooped. But here's what they need to do. Roman puts him in that submission. Jay doesn't tap. He just passes out. He goes limp. Nighty night. Roman wins. You protect Jay, looking like a total badass that he is. Maybe Jay gets a world title run in a few years. Maybe not. Definitely can see him being a singles champion on his own now because he's proven that. But that's what I think they should do. Plus, it'll further the story. This story was only supposed to go be a one-off, but Jay Uso already proved, hey, we can extend this a little more. Maybe they extend it, maybe they don't, but I fully expect Roman to win via his new submission.
Very nice. I'll give my final thoughts to wrap up our predictions. You know, I was kind of in a way thinking, yeah, this should be a one-off feud. I think this should only have been at Clash of Champions. However, the story is so damn good. Like, I could see why they did continue the feud into another pay-per-view. Because I was like thinking, oh, this doesn't have to be Hell in a Cell, but no, I mean it's very interesting. I don't know what's gonna happen with this whole I Quit thing. I mean, I definitely don't see Roman Reigns losing. He's too hot of a heel right now, and yeah, this whole heel turn. People have been telling the WWE for years, turn Roman heel, turn Roman heel. They finally did it, and now it's paying off with flying colors. Easily one of the best programs going on in WWE today. And yeah, this whole storyline's just interesting. I don't know how long Jimmy Uso is going to be off, is going to be, just out of action for, but I was almost thinking that they were going to have a match either at Hell in a Cell or another pay-per-view. But yeah, very interesting stuff. Yeah, this match will be brutal. Like Nico mentioned with older brothers, I have an older brother. I did look up to him. Like, he always was the guy that was always like doing amazing things and stuff. And I'm always like, okay, how can I outmatch him sometimes? So yeah, this is a very relatable story. It's a very fun storyline. So that being said, Roman Reigns will continue his dominance. I think this should be the pay-per-view. This particular feud wraps up. Maybe we could see some continuation with the Samoan Dynasty down the line with Jimmy and maybe other family members in the eventual Roman Reigns versus The Rock at WrestleMania, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So we'll see where it goes from there. But, yeah, Roman Reigns definitely retains the Universal title and continues his badassery. So before we move on to our final segment, do you guys have any final Hell in a Cell thoughts? To be exact, here's what I'm going to ask all of you. From a 1 to 10 scale, what do you rate your excitement level on? And pick one match that hasn't been announced as of this recording that you think might get randomly added or you just would like to see get added. Wildcard, how about we start off with you?
Okay. I'm gonna hover between a 5 or a 6 because there's some good matches on the card there too, but overall that doesn't really excite me about the pay-per-view, to be honest with you. I'm still gonna watch here and there, but it's not something that I'm gonna be like, oh my god, we have to watch this. Much like how I mentioned about the hype around Takeover the last time we talked. But I'm going to say 5 or 6. And in terms of a match that could potentially be added in there, that's a tough one. I feel like there's going to be a lot on there too. But honestly, for some reason, I keep thinking the Street Profits are going to be added to this match for some reason. I don't know why. I just feel like that they always seem to be added to a match or a tag team match for whatever reason. So, it could go either way. So any tag team that involves the Street Profits in it.
Dennis, how about you? What is your excitement level from 1 to 10, and do you see any additional matches you'd like to see or just randomly think would be added to this pay-per-view?
Okay, so my excitement level for the matches that are announced so far, I'm actually going to say it's an so far because everything's got a really good story going into it. But I'm going to go with the 6 overall because there's only 4 matches and there's so much more, so I don't know what to expect. But as for a match that I think is going to be added, I think we're going to see something with The Fiend versus someone from Retribution. And they're nail in the coffin for Retribution as we know them. I still think somehow they're eventually going to wind up reverting to their, NXT characters. And I think The Fiend might be the one that brings it out of them because he seems to have that effect on everybody he crosses paths with. So again, recap. Matches announced, excitement level 8. Total overall is a pay-per-view 6. Match I think is going to be added is The Fiend, Bray Wyatt versus someone from Retribution.
And Nico, how about you? What's your excitement level? And choose one match that you think might get added to the card.
I'm gonna say a 7. Honestly, the 3 main matches are really good. Like the stories going into them, so I'll just say a 7. A match that could be added to the card. How about Bret Hart versus El Dandy? WCW No, honestly, I don't know, and frankly, I don't care. Hopefully none, so they can actually build and let these matches, go long and tell a story in the ring. I will just say this. I hate that the cell is red. I know it's been that way for like 3 years, but go back to the regular, just silver,
Yep.
steel, please. I hate that it's the color red. I
Hey,
absolutely
Nico,
hate it.
now you mentioned that there too. Does that kind of remind you? I forgot the name of it, but TNA ran that match. It was
The
almost like
Asylum.
the Asylum.
Terradome,
Yes,
Terradome
yes.
Asylum, yeah.
Does that remind you of the Asylum match there?
Oh.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. EJV, your thoughts. And quickly, I'm going to say I concur with you, Nico. I hate the red cell. Looks like the McDonald's play place.
And you can't even go in those anymore.
Nope. Can't. Damn adulthood and damn COVID. But with me, I'm going to echo Dennis, and I'm going to give it a 6. Like I said, the 3 main matches on the card, well-built stories, competitors with great chemistry between them, and also the fact that any one of those 3 matches could be show stealers. There's absolutely no doubt. Because of like I said, the stories behind them and just the chemistry. You can have Sasha Bayley be the first match on the card and steal the whole show over the other 2. Who knows? It's going to depend on how the in-ring work comes out in the end. But yeah, like I said, I give it a 6. Like you said, overall, with that, but also the card being incomplete is definitely a factor right now until we know more. And then I could give it a true proper rating at the time when the card's complete. As far as the match goes, I'm going to echo Dennis. And I'm going to say The Fiend versus a member of Retribution. Because, yeah, I copy you. Yeah, always gotta copy the special guest. That's how I do things around here, okay? But no, I think it's a great idea because The Fiend is getting into his feud now with the members of Retribution. But I think Retribution has ran its course, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother show. How bad it's tanked, but yeah, I see The Fiend versus a member of Retribution, whether it be T-Bar, Mace, or whoever the other fucking guy's name is. I don't even. Yeah, something like that. I don't even know anymore. Slap nuts, slap dick, whatever you want to call them. Teabag, whatever. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Fiend
Mason
versus
Jar,
member Retribution to go with that next. All right, Steve-O, you are up, buddy.
All right, so I'm going to concur with you guys. I was floating between 5 and 6. Because of Bayley and Sasha having a showdown, I'm going to put it at a 6. And also the awesome build-up between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. I mean, I'm kind of ready to move on from the whole Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton feud. I think it'll be a good match, but just him losing 2 times in a row, I'm just like, okay, can we just please move on to the next rivalry? Jeff Hardy versus Elias, promising feud there. I think it's off to a pretty solid start. Having 4 matches when they're going to add more, it just kind of bothers me, like this close to the pay-per-view. I mean, sometimes I know, okay, they add random matches in last minute, but I don't like when they have like so few matches. But it is what it is. As far as a match, this is more of a wishful thinking thing here, and it involves Retribution. I say just do a rematch between them and the Hurt Business and add a stipulation saying if Retribution loses, they leave the WWE. Hurt Business wins, they leave. They try to figure out something to salvage Mustafa Ali's career, and then just the Retribution people return to NXT. Maybe some go to the main roster as their original selves, and we just kind of bury this disaster of a storyline and put it to rest. I say try to get them off TV as fast as possible, but if it isn't going to be a rematch 4-on-4 match, then yeah, I see Bray taking on T-Bar, or yeah, Bray Wyatt taking on T-Bar or whatever. But please just wrap it off. Wrap it. I'm sick of that shit too. So.
Hey,
Yeah,
if I get
let's enough with this T-Bar shit. We all know he's Dominic Dijakovic already. Jeez.
Hey, as long as I get Alexa Bliss on my TV screen, either as, Firefly Funhouse Lexi or Sister Bliss, I'm happy.
Very nice. And moving on to our last topic of this week, it involves cosplay, kind of like all these guys in the Retribution cosplaying Slipknot, but this time we're like going to go to some cool cosplays, some well done cosplays. The cosplayer of the week is a buddy of ours. He's known as Dre.Kage, aka Andres. Who would like to read off the first bullet points in this one?
I guess I'll take the ball here. Let me just say shout out to Dre here. He's definitely one of my good buddies there. I live pretty close by, so we always love chilling with the guy. An incredibly talented cosplayer. So, if you definitely get a chance to look up his stuff. But his first convention, was Anime Central in 2007, but he didn't start cosplaying until 2009. Steve, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, of course. A longtime friend of mine. We had a little meeting in 2010, but we didn't really fully become friends till 2011. And we kind of looked at each other's Facebook and were like, "Whoa, that was you in this cosplay thing." So yeah, kind of mind blowing. But yeah, a good friend of mine. Always glad to have him. Glad he's being featured in this week. So in short, he's been a wrestling fan since the early 90s. His uncle was the one who got him into wrestling, as he was a big fan of the wrestling himself. Who would like to take this one next? EJV?
Sure thing. Pulling up his favorites were Hulk Hogan, Sting, Goldberg, Triple H, The Rock, and of course Stone Cold Steve Austin. Hell yeah! His favorite wrestler of all time, though, is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Very good picks, my man. And like I said, like I was saying, I met Andre a few years ago and got to know him. He's a real nice guy, very cool, talented cosplayer, like the others have said. Hell, he hung out with us at our hotel C2E2 weekend and was having a few drinks with us.
Yeah, a little bit of the bubbly. Kind of.
Dre, big fan, big DX fan, watched every run they've had on TV throughout the years. Signature cosplays, they're mostly from fighting games. Wildcard can probably tell you some of the ones he's done. But in recent years, he's been cosplaying a lot of Resident Evil, as he's a big fan of that series. I also am a huge Resident Evil fan, so that's what's awesome about him.
Yeah, I will say that he's done some very good Resident Evil cosplays there, too. He's also done cosplays, as Steve said, he does from the fighting game community. Both of us. That's kind of how we bonded. We're both huge fighting game fans. We've done some Mortal Kombat, especially Street Fighter. I believe he's done a Tekken one, if I'm not mistaken. But he does a lot from that, from the fighting game genre. That's actually how we bonded again, and the rest was history after that. So, but definitely check out his work, though. He's very incredibly talented. He makes a lot of his stuff from scratch, which is very good.
Yeah. And so, with that being said, here are some of his cosplays right here.
Those were Andre's cosplays there. You can check them out. Follow him, of course, on all of his social media platforms. They will be listed in the video, as well as the description of this video. And that's pretty much it for the show, guys. We thank everybody for watching this. Of course, you can find us on Too Sweet Cosplay on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Follow us on the YouTube channel. Subscribe, like this video, and share it. As always, we appreciate your comments and your suggestions and your criticism. And of course, we'd like to thank Dennis Day Jr. for joining us on the show. Thank you once again, buddy. We appreciate that. Go ahead and plug your socials and give everybody how to find your podcast.
Well, first off, I wanted to thank you all again for having me on. I had a lot of fun. As for me, I'm on Facebook as Dennis Day Jr. Again, I'm on Twitter at Dennis W. Day Jr., all one word. I have an Instagram, but I don't really use it. But I think it's Den41880. Like I said, I'm very rarely on it. And then I have my podcast, Whaddya Say with DDJ. It drops every Monday at midnight. You can get it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, pretty much just about wherever you listen get your podcasts from. I also have one that, again, if you guys are part of the Pro Wrestling Junkies group, you've probably heard by now. We will actually be first or second week of November, we will officially be launching the Junkyard, which is going to be the official podcast of the Pro Wrestling Junkies Facebook group. I will be one of three hosts on that podcast, so look for it to drop the first or second week of November. I think that pretty much covers everything.
All right, man, that's awesome. Don't forget, please follow Dennis wherever he is on social media. Please listen to his podcast. It's a great listen. Trust me on that, from a fan since the very first day. Once again, thank you for joining us. Also, don't forget, Cosplayer of the Week. We are still accepting submissions. So if you got things for us, please do this. Andy?
Send us your stuff.
Wow, that was incredibly creepy, but okay. We thank you guys for watching this video. We appreciate you guys watching, of course, every week. Find us on our social medias. Have a great night, and of course, too sweet, everybody.
Bam.